Peace, everybody. Let me mute this thing because I know it's going to start giving me the double talk. Hold on. Boom. Peace. What up, y'all? You got my brother with me, Mr. Dawud.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're gonna make this short and sweet tonight. We can't be on for too long, but we're
Word
gonna
up.
try to give y'all something to work with. The title of the show is BAIO Frequently Asked Questions. And Holip and Minister Dawud address some of the most frequently asked questions we get in regards to the BAIO.
Right.
And I just want to give a shout out, first of all, to the people in the chat room right now. Dundada, peace.
Peace, big brother.
Yo, Dundada, I'm sorry, man. I missed, when I was going back to catch the broadcast of the last show, I saw you had asked me something, but I broke out, so I didn't get a chance to answer it. But if you want to ask it again, I'll do that. Of course, Belle Thanos is in the house.
Our sister. Love
Yep.
homegirl. Period.
And we got, this is a new name, She That Militant Black Buddha. I haven't seen that before. Peace,
She got a
sis.
flag? Is there a BIO flag behind that name?
Nah, just her
Oh.
face.
Okay, well,
Looks like.
you're welcome anyway. You're welcome.
Yep. Brother Danubian is in the house.
Yes. Peace, big
New
brother.
Truth Media is in the house.
Peace.
Ronin Black is in the house. Lions Den. Peace.
Peace, bro.
What's up from the Infoman show? So yeah. All right, Minister. So what's up? What's on your mind? We can talk about anything before we get into it.
Well, first and foremost, a brother. I'm gonna try to keep it clean on this show. But you gotta remember, I'm just coming from my domestic violence class that I do on Wednesdays, and I have to get kind of dirty because I deal with brothers coming from the street walk of life, so I got to clean my language up. But either
Okay.
way,
You don't
it's
have to on my show. Just to let you know, so you have some freedom.
yeah, but you know how it is, man. They saw the minister, and that nigga. Anyway, so now I don't
Mm.
let the cat out of the bag. Anyway, so what's on my mind really, first and foremost, is I'm excited because I'm going to New York City on Saturday morning, and Saturday afternoon I'm going to the BAIO New York City meetup. That's what I'm excited
Yes,
about.
me too. And from the looks of things, we're gonna have a nice little turnout.
Oh, that's great.
Even though the key people we wanted there can't show, because I said the weekends is really bad for our brother Neo and for Big Brother R.
Right, right,
Like especially Big Brother R. Well, actually Neo too. They both work the weekends all the time. Like they never have the weekends off.
right.
So that sucks. But we'll work it out. We'll find
Word,
something.
word, word. But Max 611 is going to be there. I'm excited about that,
Yep.
and
You
really
probably get a
excited about
chance to
that.
meet my cousin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he'll be there.
So yeah, man, and my freaking aunt have already gave me like a ton of locksmith security things to do, and have me working for another person too. So I'm gonna be working when I go down there because I got to take a toolbox down. But other than
Hmm.
that, man, I'm excited about that. Now, what's on my mind? Before you, I don't know if there's any questions yet, but I will say this: what is on my mind is, we kind of got into this morality thing last week, and we are having kind of a cold war with some moralists. It's not that, and I call it a cold war because nobody's really trying to carry something on, but people just don't know when to stop. But I just want to say this to you, brothers and sisters, and I thought about this yesterday as I was falling asleep. The BAIO, okay, we are an organization, we are a social network, we're an organization that believes that the answer to black people's problems in America is land, infrastructure, and nationhood. Acquiring land, controlling and building and maintaining your own infrastructure, and with that ability to claim and to relish in nationhood. Me, Brother Minister Dawud, I have three principles that I built around my radio show, which is called 13 Revolution. And that those three principles are revolution, reconstruction, renaissance. So in other words, now I didn't bring my car key out. In other words, I believe this, and I've studied this, that all societies that grow from a oppressed state and to a dominant state go through those three stages. They first form a revolution. Now, what has divided us as a people is your concept of revolution. Because you got your kill whitey people out there, and they think that that's revolution. So in other words, the only way for you to revolt is to kill as many crackers as you can, that kind of stuff. And of course, that pretty much scares half the population of black people away from that because they don't want to have no part of that kind of stuff. And rightfully so, because you're outnumbered, you're out technology, you're out military, you're out finance. Anything given category you could think of, you're out. So when you follow delusional people who scream and yell that with black power attached to it at the end as a qualifier, you mean if you jump on something like that, I just don't know what to say to you. Revolution to me, there's been a social revolution, there's been technology revolution, there's been emotional revolutions. I mean, there's so many different revolutions that you could, if you really study it, have happened for you to limit it to a physical armed conflict. So then you have reconstruction, because after you get yourself in a position of power or position of strength, then you have to rebuild. And unfortunately, the second generation black power leaders, they were the ones who were responsible or supposed to be responsible for reconstruction, but dropped the ball on reconstruction. So what should have happened is there should have all the programs, all of the policies and everything that you tried to collect people together for, gather people together for, should have all been geared towards reconstructing, rebuilding. Because gentrification should never really be on the table if really all of the second generation, and brothers and sisters, when I say second generation, I'm talking about from 1970 to 2005, 2010. That's the second generation to me. First generation is 1930 black power leaders all the way to 1970. So therefore, those people should have had every waking moment and every policy and everything that they did should have been geared towards the reconstruction, and they didn't do that. They talked about it, but they didn't do that. And so the third stage, once you reconstruct, is Renaissance. Renaissance being when you have enough control of your infrastructure, you have land, and you have nationhood, then you can then put all of your, not all of your resources, but a significant amount of resources to the comfort of the people and to the quality of life of the people. So that means that land infrastructure nationhood is not going to be fun. It's not going to be something where we're going to be able to jump around and laugh. There's going to be a lot of days of blood, sweat, and tears, to be honest with you. And so having said that, to me, any issue that you deal with in America that deals with a black person going crazy or going off code is a byproduct of, guess what, of being in America. And with that, I lob the ball up and I give it to you.
Yeah, what I'm thinking about as you're talking is one of the things that the constant source of irritation for me, and this is how you know when you're dealing with honest players, when you're having any type of disagreement or conversation. I don't have to misrepresent my opponent's position in order to challenge it.
Right.
I can represent your position exactly how you are expressing it.
Right.
The problem that I have with people who call themselves opponent of us is that you misrepresent what we're saying, and then you try to build off your misrepresentation as if it's a fact.
Indeed.
I'll give you an example. To say that the BAIO is against morality is a misrepresentation of what we're saying.
Absolutely.
100%. You are misrepresenting what we're saying. If that's your position, the BAIO is against morality, then you are not being an honest player.
Yep.
And I can't have a conversation with you because I don't know how many times I've expressed and Minister Dawud has expressed. It's not that we're against morality. What we're saying is, how do you get in a situation where you can control the behavior of your citizens?
Right.
And you can't do it in a situation where you do not have socioeconomic and political control over your reality. Exactly. And this is why I know either people are being intentionally disingenuous or people are fucking morons. It's one of the two.
It's both. It's both.
You think?
I think. I really do. I think you guys are morons. You are. And I have a feeling we're going to go to full time today, bro. So it is what it is. But I'm getting hyped now, but
Yeah,
you guys are morons. You are absolute morons. And I know you're gonna respond on Facebook, and it is what it is. You are morons because no one ever said that we was against morality. Let me just say this to you, brothers and sisters. And what you just said was excellent. The misrepresentation of my position. We're in the stage of gathering people. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. You cannot have some kind of moral code of conduct while you're gathering the people, you
exactly.
idiot. You idiot. Are you crazy? This is the reason why you've never done anything by
Thank
yourself.
you.
Is because that's what you think. You think that as you're gathering people, I just want to let you know before you come in these doors, you can't fornicate. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm just telling you before you like. Well, I want you to be down with me, but before you come down with me, you know what I'm saying? You can't be gay. You can't be like. What's wrong with you, idiots? You
Can't be
understand?
Christian. Can't
Oh yeah,
believe in Jesus.
you definitely can't. You definitely can't do
Now,
that. You know what I
now,
mean?
let me use that as an example. Am I a Christian?
No, not at all.
Anybody who's listened to any of my broadcasts, do you see me endorsing Christianity?
Nope.
You know that I'm not a Christian.
Nope.
You know that I'm not a Christian. But if I say, are you down for land infrastructure nationhood and you're a Christian and I allow you into the BAIO, as if I have a choice, allow
Right.
you in. You come into the BAIO because you are down for land infrastructure and nationhood. Does that mean that now I endorse your Christianity because you're a part of the BAIO?
Right. Nope.
So you are intentionally misrepresenting my position and our position, and then you're trying to build off your straw man to make so that you can have an actual argument. Because if you
Right.
go by our position, our real and genuine position, you have no argument.
Right.
What are you going to say? Oh, well, we can't control the context of our reality in order to control behavior? Because you know what I'm going to respond with, then why aren't you doing it now?
Exactly.
We are living in a situation where you do not have socioeconomic and political control over the context of your reality. The white man controls this country.
Exactly.
So why haven't you built this morality thing? Why haven't your morality police worked yet?
Exactly. It's a good question. Y'all got 24 hours to answer.
So nobody's against morality. That's stupid. We're
Mhm.
against morality. That makes absolutely no fucking sense.
Yep.
What we want to do is we want to control the context of our reality so that our people would have it's certain behaviors that we have in this society that wouldn't even be an issue if we had our own land.
You niggas gotta study. You niggas you really gotta study. I have to use the N word today because if you study like for me, my name is Dawud. Dawud in English means David, and my teacher gave me that name for a reason. And let me just say it to you, brothers and sisters. I come from the school where you had to study under somebody and they gave you a name. You didn't just take on a name, okay? So when you come at me and I know that you took on your own name, I kind of don't respect you in the first place.
Hmm.
But that's neither here nor there. I being my teacher gave me that because he knew, and I don't know how he knew, but he knew at some point in my life that I would be a vigorous military history as well as strategy studier and student. And what I know is if you study Genghis Khan, if you study really Attila the Hun, which Attila the Hun kind of is more applicable to where we are at the BAIO. It took Attila the Hun 40 years to unite his tribes. And the thing about it is, brothers and sisters, is this, is that Attila had to unite the tribes according to common threads that they had. And I am pretty sure if you go into this history, the common thread is like your niggas can't be gay. You know what I'm saying? Like for us to really take over this world, you understand what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that it's not that we are promoting or endorsing anybody's religion or anybody's lifestyle, but what we are endorsing is togetherness. We're endorsing togetherness, and that's why we made infrastructure a a most important part of our organization because we understood infrastructure is something we can all agree on. You could disagree on what religion, spirituality we need to use. You can disagree on whether we should be able to screw whoever we want to, or we should have quote unquote strong families, which I'm going to get to in a minute. I'm going to get to the strong family thing in a minute, and I know you want to get to that too. But all the stuff, we don't have to worry about that if we know you want to control infrastructure. We also don't have to worry about that if we know that you you have the skills to build and maintain infrastructure, which leads me to my next point. And my next point is this. I feel like when you guys use the morality points, when you use the morality talking points, when you harp on that, it is because you are afraid. Deep down inside, you know full well that you have done nothing in order to add to building and maintaining of infrastructure, which is okay.
Uh-oh.
Which is
I
okay.
think I think you're getting ready to touch on the main nerve.
Yep. The reality of it is, you know full well that you are not a scientist, an engineer, you're not in technology, and you're not in mathematics. So you got to use spirituality and you got to use morality, because the main core of what we are uniting against, you have done nothing to be a part of. You read something about it. You can speak the jargon. Me, Dawud, I'm in the technology field, baby boy. I'm in the technology field. I deal with technology every single day. And so, therefore, you got to use that stuff. You got to lay on that stuff, because in reality, you have nothing to do with science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So it's very important for you to deal with morality and to be a critic of this and a critic of that, because in reality, you have nothing to do with the main core of what we stand for. And because of that, that's what you have to harp on. I see your insecurity. I can see it from I can. That's why I don't really address y'all directly, because I see your insecurity. The point is, there's going to be a lot of people who have nothing to do with that. But those people have to get in where they fit in and find another way to contribute. And if you can, like, you know what I'm saying, if you're not doing that, see, that's the thing is, like, if you're not busy trying to figure out which way you could contribute, and the only thing you can do is take shots on certain things that quote unquote are not doing, we don't really need you anyway. But what you
Yeah.
getting ready to say, bro?
I want to back up everything that you just said. I mean, basically, you put the freaking period and exclamation point on it, and you hit the nerve. You hit the raw nerve of what this is all about. See,
Yep.
we are going in a direction that most people have not seen before.
Right.
There hasn't been many groups that has put modern technology and advancement at the forefront of their movement.
Right.
What they put is emotionalism at the forefront of their movement.
Yes.
What they
Thank
want you
you.
to do is they want you to hate the white man. So because you hate the white man, that means that now you're going to get together, because eventually we're going to have this battle between us and the white man for
Yep.
control over what exactly?
Yep.
See, because my thing is, if you want to go to war, what are you going to war for?
Mhm.
At the end of this war, are you going to war for emotionalism? Because that's not art of war. You're a
Right.
bad general if that's what you're going to war for.
Right.
People usually go to war for things, tangible, concrete things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Even when they claim it's about misunderstandings or whatever, it's not really about that. That was just a cover so that they can get to the real reason why they want to go to war, for really land and resources
Yes.
and strategic positioning
Yep.
on the globe. That's what the modern superpowers and countries deal with right now.
Right. Right.
Not, oh, I don't like this country, so I'm going to bomb it. No, they want to bomb it, but it's for a specific reason. And it usually
Exactly.
has to do with resources, land, or strategic positioning on the globe.
Word. And let me just interject. If you think that they're going to war because they don't like countries, you're a moron. Carry on, bro.
Exactly.
Carry on, bro. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let
Oh,
me
you said
interject
it.
that.
That's it. You're a moron. But see, and this is the problem. Where's this insecurity? Listen, I know that Minister Dawud is more technically skilled in his field than I am. Why am I threatened by that if that's not my field?
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, there's plenty of people that's doing shit that I don't know, but why am I threatened? Am I threatened by a physicist? What sense does that make? Am I threatened by an architect?
Yeah. Let me give you a case in point. Because as I'm technically, you know, a beast in my field, I have to ask Holip at least once every 2 months. Yo, what do you use when you do video editing? And he goes,
Right.
He goes, hey man, I use this, that, and next. I done told you that already. I go, oh, okay. And then 2 months later, yo, what do you use for video editing? Because because I don't know.
But
Because
that's what I'm here for, right? Because that's my
exactly,
wheelhouse.
exactly.
So we all have something that we're bringing to the table. I don't understand why people feel the need to break something else down in order to make yourself or big yourself. I call it I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook, but my term of the day was virtue signaling.
Yes, I did. That was brilliant.
Yeah, that's my
I'm
term for
not
the
saying that
day.
because you're my brother and I love you. That was brilliant.
Yeah, virtue signaling, which is very popular in the conscious community today. And if nobody knows what virtue signaling is, let me tell you. Um, Virtue signaling, the definition of virtue signaling is to take a conspicuous but essentially useless action ostensibly to support a good cause, but actually to show off how much more moral you are than everybody else.
Right, right. Yep. Which is debatable because we don't live in your city. So
Right. We
if
don't know
we
what you're doing.
exactly, and that's really if you really want to get down, we don't live in your city. So we have not gone to your city to ask people if you live in all of the stuff you say you live in. That goes for all of y'all. That's not directed towards one person, male nor female. Nobody lives in your city, so we don't know. But let me just tell you this as a aside before we get to the strong black family thing, which I know we both itching to get into. In my experience, I have now been in the Nation of Islam construct. Okay, I done told y'all 1,000 times I don't follow Farrakhan, so please don't answer me no Scientology questions or whatever. I don't follow that. I don't give a damn about that or him.
It's
Now,
amazing you have to keep saying that because,
yep,
oh, God, go ahead. I ain't going to get into that.
you know what I'm saying. But either way, in my Nation of Islam experience, we have a code of law called restrictive laws, right? And it's very, very stringent. And in my judgment, in my experience, whenever you have a guy who comes in or a girl who comes in and they're like, man, it's all about the law. I'm living the law. And they have like, usually a person like that goes into the discipline classes, which is the military, they're either captain, lieutenant, whatever. And what happens with these kind of people is they are so moral that the first time they mess up really bad. I mean, really bad. They usually do something crazy that the average person that's kind of like, trying to live the law, but they may struggle with this and they may struggle with that. They fall far off the freaking cliff. And when they
Mhm.
do, they are so stringent. Guess what? They can't even forgive themselves.
Right. How can you?
Yep.
How can you forgive you when you've made it this line in the sand against everybody else, and then you actually commit the treason that you were getting ready to kill people over?
Mhm.
Well, you can't kill yourself.
Right.
So what do
Right.
you do?
Exactly.
What do you do? You just hate yourself. It's all stupid.
Right.
It's this same. I call it Bill Cosbyism, and this is the reason why. There's a variety of reasons why I don't like Bill Cosby. And the funny part about it was, I used to be a big Bill Cosby fan, and if I just separate his behavior and just look at him as an artist,
Mhm.
back in early Bill Cosby, I thought he was brilliant.
Me too.
So
Love
I
Bill
don't have a
Cosby.
problem with him as a comedian or whatever, or just his work. But I just have a problem with his ideology.
Right.
And
Right.
his ideology is all about image
Ooh.
over substance. It's about the image of morality. It's not about
Mhm.
actual morality itself. Because I've made this point to you, Minister Dawud. I want y'all to think about this. Every wholesome family value show that America has produced, look at the cast and the people that were in that show, and just about all of them were freaks,
Yep. Yep.
degenerates,
Yep. Dead.
all types of emotional problems and stuff. They were the exact opposite of this wholesome family value image that they were trying to push on the public.
Right. Art did not imitate life.
Yeah. So what
Yep.
that tells me, and what it told me a long time ago, I used to say this before. Fuck image. I don't care about the image of morality. I don't care. Don't give me no wholesome family when that shit don't exist in real life.
Word. Word. Word.
Don't try to push that on me like it's some fucking reality.
And that's the ironic part about this whole thing is we are fighting to bring people together so we can give you a chance to actually live that.
Right.
Because you will not live that here. I don't care who
And it's
you
your
are.
choice whether you live it or not.
Yep.
It's your choice. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about choice. Because it seems to me that people are so amped up to control the choices of other people. Listen, we can create the perfect context, and you can tell there's parents. If there's parents in this chat room or listening to this broadcast, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
You can create the perfect context for your children. Love them, provide food, clothing, and shelter for them. Do everything that you can to help them. And one of those kids is going to turn out good, and one of those kids is going to turn out bad.
Exactly.
Even though you provided the context. But what's the difference? The difference is each kid has to make a choice.
Right.
What road are they going to go down? What path are they going to follow?
Right.
So I can't control your choices. All I can do is try to create the environment so that you can have a functional upbringing, and hopefully you take that ball and run with it. But if you don't, what are you going to do about it?
Yep. And you as a parent, here's the funny thing about it. You as a parent, when you are talking that stuff, do you understand the potential hypocrisy you setting up? Here's the thing. It's like, um, man, I'll say this on this radio show, and I don't mean no disrespect, even though I could give a damn less. But you will see a lot of hardcore. I'm just with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad Muslims criticizing Minister Louis Farrakhan, not because of something he did, but because he has a son that is married to a white woman, and so to them that totally invalidates everything he's ever done. And I look at that and I bust out laughing every time I see it. Because it's like, how the hell are you going to charge him with what that child did?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
Listen,
is it any different than what they do with us?
truth be told.
We say we don't care about your personal ideology. What we want is to know that you are down for land infrastructure nation. Oh, these dudes is homosexuals. These dudes is Christians. These dudes. You're intentionally misrepresenting us so that you can make a point, because you have no point if you just listen to what we're saying. You have no point.
Yo, let's get
And
on
I
with the
know
get
what
on.
you're doing, and I see you.
Yep. Let's get on with the get on now, because now we're going to open up a can of whoop ass.
All right.
Now we're going to do this. Okay, okay, let's deal with strong black families. Let's deal
Go
with
for
strong
it.
black families. You niggas. Strong black families, right? Right? That's what you want, right? That's what because you got one, right? So, first of all, to be qualified to speak on strong black families, okay, you got to have one, which means you got to have a wife or husband and you got to
Uh-oh.
have children.
Uh-oh.
And if you don't have a wife or husband or children, shut the hell up talking about strong black families because you don't know what you're talking about. You have no earthly idea what you're talking about if you've never tried to have a family, maintain a family, or build a family. You
Uh-oh.
have no idea. You have no idea. You didn't even go to kindergarten yet, son. You didn't. So you can't talk about strong black families if you never had one. You can't. And it's just that simple. This is not me trying to disrespect nobody. This is not me trying to throw off on nobody. That's a fact. In the chat room, if you disagree, let me know. And I can't see the chat room right now because I'm on my headphones in the middle of my my living room, just throwing my hands
Nobody's
around.
disagreeing. I'll let you know if I see anything.
Because how can you even think about talking about strong black families if you don't have one? How can you talk about how to raise children if you don't have any children? I see this on Facebook all the time. I see dudes criticizing entertainers, sports figures, athletes, and things like that on how they raise their children and how they and you don't have a son and you don't have a daughter. Shut the hell up! You don't know what you're talking about. And here's the funny thing: like I see, like sometimes I remember I seen the conscious community chick, what I call judgmental conscious community vegan slut. Okay, I'm sorry if I offended you if you're that, but that's what she is. And what you know what that is? That's a person who was loose as hell and rebanded themselves as a conscious community vegan. Now I get to judge y'all like I'm in the church. See, because
Retcon,
you
like
see
in
what
the
I'm saying?
comics.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? See, I was loose before, But now I found Egypt and I found the pyramids. So now I'm conscious and I learned how to eat right. So I know how your cannabinoids should be and all these other terminologies we use. So now I can judge y'all based on what y'all eat. You understand? And what this chick was talking about was basically she was like, I don't understand how parents can give their children tablets and have their children on all these tablets and I'm just sitting here like, before you try to even speak on such a thing, and at the bottom of this whole paragraph it says, and I don't even have children. And what the hell are you talking about it for then? Do you
All you're doing is
understand?
speculating.
Exactly.
That's
Like, do
all
you
you're doing.
understand?
How about this, Minister? How about you not being involved in a relationship, but you're going to talk to people about relationships? Because I know if a black man and a black woman is involved in a relationship, what that takes.
Yep.
I know what it takes. It ain't an easy thing. And you go through your ups, you go through your downs. But if you love each other, you pull through. And it's no comic book, um, TV, Bill Cosby bullshit when it comes to relationships. It's
Nope.
work.
Nope.
So
Nope.
if you're not involved in the relationship, what are you talking about it for?
Mhm. And let's go further. Let's talk about strong relationships. I'm sorry, I'm eating the apple. Strong relationships and strong black families and the reality of it. Okay, so you want to talk about strong black families, which means what? Which means y'all was together for a certain amount of years or blah blah blah. But let's talk about the reality of strong black families. And the reality of strong black families is somebody called the cops on the other person a couple of times, and somebody moved out of the other person's house a couple of times, and somebody went to go live with their sister for a couple of times, and then they moved back in. See, the image that you portray of strong black families and you make it wholesome, in reality, ironically, like the Bill Cosby thing, is not reality. And you know how I know that? Because I work in a family group, my nigga. I work in a
Hmm.
family group. I deal with black men who have families every single day. I have parole officers who call me about black men who have families every single day. By God's grace, I have the ability, or I've been given the ability, that sometimes the last step on the ladder for a person to be able to go home and live with their family is me. A parole officer will call me and say, do you think this person is competent enough to go back with their families?
Hmm.
You have no idea about that. You have no idea. All you know is what happened with you and the 3 to 4 people that you grew up around, but you don't know true reality. And let me tell you something. Some of these people I deal with is white too. So if the people are white, you cannot say white families are this, black families are not that. You don't know. You don't know. You have no earthly idea. And so therefore, like, to be coming on Facebook or coming on Twitter or coming on YouTube, and you want to talk about strong black families and straight black families and all this other stuff, and you have a limited sample size of what family really is, I'm not trying to be a jerk today, but what I'm saying to you is you have no idea what the true reality of is, son. You have no idea. And you're preaching this black family bullshit wherever you go. And in reality, you don't know what's going on out there. You have no idea what's going on between white men and white women, black men and black women, Asian men. You have no idea. You don't deal with that. Now, if you was like a CPS worker or maybe you was like in family court, then I can understand. I can respect you. Well, I worked in CPS for 2 years. Nigga, please. But this whole strong black family thing, to me, you're talking to people who are taking you on face value. But let me just tell you something. Niggas know what time it is. Niggas know what time it is. Uppity black people don't know what time it is. Niggas know what time it is.
Hmm.
And they listen to this and they look at you post these things and talk about these things all day and all night. And the reality they say, yo, that's not the reality in the hood. And you always say, well, I'm not talking about the hood. Let me tell you something. I have people that come to me from Saratoga, which is a rich area of white folks where, they race horses every year. I have people that come from there. I have people come from all over the place that need my service, which is a domestic violence class, which also a male support group, which also, I mean, you name it, I'm involved with father conferences, all that stuff. I travel all around New York. We have traveled to California. We have traveled to Indianapolis in order to go to conferences and things like that. So I'm constantly hearing about strong black families. And when I see you on there with your Michael Savage, Sean Hannity talking points about strong black families, it just doesn't add up in real life. It really just doesn't add up in real life.
Oh, I just want to inject something. Old Odos 80 in the chat room says there's a book called The Way We Never Were that challenges the TV perception of the family dynamic.
Thank you. Thank you, big brother.
Yep.
Thank you.
The
Yes, it's
Way We
true.
Never Were.
Let me tell you something. We talk about. I'm sorry, Hope. I know I'm taking a little bit of time here,
No,
but
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yo, we sit here and we try to romanticize the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s as if that was the golden age of family and fatherhood. And I hate to say it to you because I know it's going to bust your bubble. But if you really talk to the men and women in those families who quote unquote stayed together for the children, am I opening up a can of whoop ass now, Hog?
Mm-mm. Mm.
Who stayed together for the children, then you will find out that the quote unquote strong black family that you keep harping on, yeah, they said that they loved each other. But the reality is some of the men didn't and some of them women didn't. And some of the men was miserable and some of them women were miserable. And it just was not fashionable for you to break up back then. And so now that it is more fashionable and acceptable to break up, now you're seeing the true reality of black family in America, which is that it is very hard for us to stay together under oppression, which is something that you niggas keep, for whatever reason, throwing out the window, because the reality of it is that the more you want to talk about freedom and free sex and stuff like this, the reality of it is, brothers and sisters, is it is hard to maintain a code of morality in a country like this. It just is. And if you have been able to master one, two, or three areas, God bless you. I give you all the credit in the world. But don't come over here and try to impose that on us and say we're not doing that. You don't know what the hell we're doing. Just because all we talk about is land infrastructure nationhood, let me tell you something. There are going to be psychiatrists, therapists, and family practitioners in the BAIO that's going to help us deal with stuff like this. But you're not even giving us a chance to get there. What you're trying to do is you're trying to say, while we're gathering the people, we're not addressing these things. And the point is that we're not there yet. Because let me tell you something. There will be a council of brothers and sisters who will come together with a code of conduct. But that's going to be when that time is there. Am I lying, bro?
No, not at all.
Nobody said there never would be a moral code of conduct or code of conduct. How the hell are we going to have a disciplined society that is a technology or technocracy if we don't have a code of moral conduct? How are we going to do it? But the point is that we first got to know who the hell's going to build it, and we first got to know who we can trust to build it. So for you to be trying to poke holes in what we're doing at the gathering stage, I still think that you don't really understand the degree of asshole you are. Take it away, bro.
I think they do understand, and I think they're being intentionally disingenuous. They're not listening to what you're saying. They're not listening to what I'm saying. What they're doing is they're reacting off of buzzwords.
Yeah.
Do you know that there's brothers? The reason why brothers particularly have a problem with me is because I'm secure in my manhood.
Yep.
So the word homosexual doesn't send me off into a Tasmanian devil tizzy. I can
Right.
broach the subject. I can talk about this stuff because I don't have any emotionally invested interest in it.
Right.
So when I hear brothers say homosexual, this motherfucker, he love homos. Just because you said homosexual, I didn't listen to the context. I didn't listen to what point you were making. I just heard the word and I went completely off. First of
Right.
all, you are homo. Let's just put that out there for public consumption because it's a fact. You are gay
Word.
because only a gay man would react that way.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people who not listening to us are misrepresenting what we're saying instead of listening to what we're, because if you listen to what we're saying and take our actual position, you have no counter.
Right.
So this is
Right.
why you have to do this. You have to make up a position or straw man so you can knock it down.
And you know what? Let's go into something real deep, real quick. It's two parts. My son, my sort of like one of my best friends, good brother in the local area. He's from the Bronx. I'm from Brooklyn. We clicked years ago when he was in the drug game, and we've been friends ever since. We've been friends since like 1995. And so we was talking one day, and he said to me, he said, D, he said, he said, people who say no homo, he said, you know where they usually come from? I said, where? He said, they usually come from jail. I said, yo, you know what? That is true. He said, and the reason being is that being in that environment where it's nothing but men, and you got the homosexuality going on with those who ain't gonna get out and stuff like that. That's something that a lot of people from up top say. They say that. They say no homo. That was a slang that came in and went out, but it's still people from jail that's saying that because that's an environment that they in. I said, damn, you're right. He said, so therefore, when you hear a dude who ain't a jail dude say that, you got to look at him funny.
Mm.
And that's this is why me and this dude get along so well. He is so freaking smart. This dude is one of like he doesn't have a college education. I'm pretty sure he got a GED or something like that. But he is the smartest, wisest dude I ever knew. And when it comes to dealing with humans and human behavior, he can look at a picture of somebody if I show it to him from Facebook or whatever, and tell me like a whole bunch of things that I already know about the person, but he never met the person.
Mm-hmm.
And so that in and of itself tells me something about you. But let's go over the evolution of sensitivity of homosexuality. See, back in the 60s and 70s, and even the early 80s or whatever, and you can bear witness to this because you're a little bit older than I am, we were so secure in our manhood and womanhood that a dude, when he got mad at you on a rap song, would tell you what? Suck my joint, right?
Yep.
Nowadays, if you say that, the minute it comes out of your mouth, you're a homo. You ever thought about that?
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that, but you're right.
It's the truth because I've been on my old school hip hop thing for the last couple of days, and the amount of times a dude got mad at some other rapper and said that is just, and you can't even count it.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, you don't hear that, and the reason why you don't hear that because it's so sensitive that if you say that, you got to be a homo. Now, am I saying that we was right or rappers was right by saying that back in the day? I'm not saying that they was right, but what I am saying is that it just wasn't an issue.
Right.
It just wasn't an issue. It wasn't
Right.
an issue to the alpha males securing their manhood rappers back then that would say something like it just wasn't an issue. And so for me, I just look at this whole thing and I just say, wow, like you guys still beating on this drum to this day. And I have to keep saying this because it just makes you look more retarded every time I say it. We are in the gathering stage and you talking this stuff. It's not like BAIO has now signed deals to acquire land. We're talking to African, officials and stuff like that, and we still ain't solved that problem yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We still having meetups, and y'all talking about this. So for me, I don't know. I just look at the whole thing like Jesus Christ. Like I just can't believe it. But I don't know if you wanted to say anything else on this because I wanted to go on something positive.
Okay.
No,
Well,
did you want to say something else?
no. In regards to that, no, because we've made our position clear. Anybody that's still talking that bullshit is just misrepresenting us.
You know we're
So
gonna
it's,
get in trouble.
it's no need to even for us to even go on. It's like we keep reiterating and restating our initial positions, and they keep misinterpret. And it's not even misinterpreting. It's they're intentionally misrepresenting it so they can have an argument
Mm-hmm.
or something to talk about. But I want to give you some questions here, like it's frequently asked questions, because I had got the ball rolling in the group. Um, but I just want to run through. I'll start at 10 and then go backwards.
Okay.
And I'm just going to run them off, and then you can pick whichever one you want to touch on. Number 10, will African be another Liberia?
Oh God, you could take that one.
Number 9, don't you need knowledge of self before you step one foot in Africa?
I got that.
Number 8, what religion will be practiced in African?
Oh man, I got that too.
Number 7, is it safe to go to Africa?
That's a good question. We
Number
could both talk about
6.
that.
Yeah. What about morality? I
Oh
guess we
Lord.
thought we already addressed that.
Yeah, we
Number
beat that
5.
horse into the ground.
What about spirituality?
Oh my God, yo. Come on,
Number
yo.
4. Shouldn't we learn an African language before we go to Africa?
Yeah, here we go again.
Number 3. How can you go to Africa without taking your Eurocentric mindset with you?
Oh man. Oh
Number
man.
2. What can you do for Africa? And the number 1 frequently asked question for the BAIO is, drum roll please, where to land at?
Oh my God. All right, what was number 10 again?
All right. Number 10 was, will African be another Liberia?
I'll let you deal with that because you know what? I am so tired of talking about Liberia. I'm so tired of that discussion. I don't know if you are. I love the concept of Liberia. That's why it's like, when I say I'm Minister Dawud and I represent the Nation of Islam construct. I
Mm,
make that very clear so people can understand, no, I don't have loyalty to this one or that one or this one or that one. It's the construct I have loyalty to. It's the lessons I have loyalty to. It is the teaching and the training I have loyalty to. It's the discipline. It is the spirituality. It's all of that I have loyalty to. But I don't have loyalty to any man because my teacher passed in 2000. And other than that, that's it for me. So when it comes to, do we want to make another Liberia? Now, these people who ask this question are generally not disingenuous. They have done some studying and they love the concept of Liberia. So there's a less harsher tone I would take with you guys who ask this question right here. And for me, the answer is no, yo. And the reason why is, first of all, I would say this and then I'll let you take it away.
mm-hmm,
My teacher, Honorable Minister Dawud X, taught me a long time ago. He said, Dawood, he said, be careful not to study people who got assassinated, murdered, or killed. And I thought that that was very profound. At first, I didn't understand it and didn't want to follow it because, before all the stuff came out about Gandhi and how he hated black people, a lot of people wanted to study Gandhi and some other stuff like that. And then there's people who, like, in reality, like, if you really want to be a good preacher, like, they tell you to study Martin Luther King because Martin Luther King was a bad, bad man from that podium. I don't care what none of y'all say.
mm-hmm,
But Martin Luther King got murdered. And the premise is this: when you are fixated on something that either got assassinated, violently taken from us, or whatever, there's a effect that that has, an imprint on your subconscious mind that traumatizes you. Now, I have to give credit to a dude that I heard on the Yvette Carnell show a long time ago. Yvette Carnell, dear Yvette. Remember that song? Remember that song from back in the day?
yeah,
The dude said that the guy that she has in the background that you never see, he said that he wanted to do some studies on all the assassinations that happened in the civil rights era, and what kind of trauma that had on us, and what it meant, what it did to our courage. I
mm,
really thought that was deep, man. I thought it was deep. So, brothers and sisters, listen. The nation that we are going to create, and remember, Holip, Big Brother College Genesis, and others have said African is just a placeholder. That's not going to be the final name of the country. That's just the name that we're giving it now, just to have a name. So don't think that we're going to be 200-300 years under that name. It's just a placeholder. But in order to build that nation, we're trying to improve, we're trying to beautify, we're trying to make better. So it's going to be 10 times better than the Liberia. We're going to not make the same mistakes. And the people that we have in place that will be skilled in science, technology, engineering, mathematics makes it something that the concept that Liberia really wasn't built on. Take it away, my brother.
I think that Liberia is a lesson, just like Black Wall Street was a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Is Liberia to me is our game 7 of the NBA championship that we lost.
Right.
It doesn't mean that now all of a sudden you stop playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It means you go back and you see, how did we lose this game? Why didn't
Mm-hmm.
we win the championship? Same thing with Black Wall Street. It's like, that's your fourth quarter of the Super Bowl and you didn't get the touchdown
Right.
and you
Right.
lost.
Right.
A loss is never just a defining moment of who you are. What it is it's a lesson learned. You
Mm-hmm.
learn from your loss. And what do
Right.
you do differently so that you don't lose again? See, this is the thing that I don't understand. When people bring up Liberia, it's almost like I said, it's a drop the mic. It's like, oh, well, Liberia, boom, nigga, you can't have no nation. I'm like, what? So then what? And then when I use that same philosophy when it comes to their sports, because niggas love sports.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine me telling a nigga who's a New York Giant fan, well, nigga, you lost the Super Bowl. You can't ever win a Super Bowl again.
Right.
You would look at me like I'm crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But you can understand the concept in a sports context. But when it comes to a nation context, you don't get it.
Right.
And I use those examples to show just how um, inconsistent your ideology is and how it's not really practical. You're trying to raise these points because you're trying to shut down any progress. That's the point.
Yep.
You don't want us to build anything. You want to break the spirit of, as if you have to go through this huge task to break black people's spirit.
Hmm.
Really? So it's not broken enough for you. The
Yo,
fact the fact that we want something of our own, you look at that and you go, this motherfucker wants something of his own. I can't have that.
right. Yeah. With the twist, the curly mustache.
But
Right
just to
up.
build, I just want to finish this Liberia point before you go.
Right.
Um, we should be able to look at that history and see that and be honest. Was there a window of opportunity that was given to the CIA to take advantage of? The answer is yes.
Yep.
There was a window of opportunity. There was nobody. If anybody wants to see, it's the truth is somewhere in the middle of what everybody tries to give you. Some people try to make it seem as if there was no rift between the native people of that land and the African Americans that were there. That's wrong.
Right.
And some people try to make it seem as if it was just complete, full and all and out warfare and friction between the two. And that's wrong.
Right.
But there was something there that the CIA could infiltrate and take advantage of.
Right.
So how do you avoid that
As
in the
with all
future?
black organizations in America,
Right.
might I add.
How do you avoid that in the future? And I will say that the way to avoid that is, and I said it, and keep in mind I'm only one person, but I think that this is a valid strategy. I don't want to just talk about working with Africans on the continent in some vague abstract way. We need to work with Africans on the continent in a tangible and concrete way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got it in your mind, if you have this image in your mind that a bunch of African Americans is going to come over to the continent and take over a piece of land and basically do whatever we want to and set up shop without any because first of all, you got to realize we're going to be basically dealing with the host nation no matter where we go.
Right. Right.
So my strategy is to work with the host nation with the eventuality of that being an independent nation state of our own. And that's so doable. And it's and there's so many ways that could be accomplished where that you can't, it doesn't give the opportunity for the CAIO to address what Odas 80 is saying. She said, well, is there a way to avoid that? Yes, definitely. Listen, I want people to get this into your mind. There is a way for you to avoid anything,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. Like if you have a guy, like it's just like fighting. I don't know if you guys watch boxing or martial arts or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
There is no such thing as somebody that's unbeatable.
Right.
For every strong point you have, there's a flaw.
Yep.
We have to start thinking like a fighter and stop thinking like a bitch.
Exactly.
You know what a bitch does when the strong guy raises his fist, the bitch retreats and goes and hides in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
What does a fighter do? Oh, he raised his left arm. That leaves this one vulnerable. What can I do? How can I move around? He's constantly thinking about how he can attack this guy no matter what this guy is doing.
Right.
And that's how you have to be about nationhood.
Mm-hmm.
So anything, and you got to be a multi-dimensional thinker. You can't be a one-dimensional thinker. And this is what drives me crazy with a lot. Like people are saying, oh, well, you just can't go and take over land. Really, nigga? That's your mindset of how you get land on the continent? By taking it? By going over there and killing continental Africans? That's how you get your land. And there's no other way that you can think of that land can be obtained.
There's some people out there that think that too.
Yeah,
By the
because
way.
they're one-dimensional thinkers. They're not nuanced thinkers. They
Mm-hmm.
don't problem solve. This is the reason why we push science, technology, engineering, mathematics. This is the reason why we want these type of people in our cipher, because these type of people problem solve. They don't look at a problem and then go, oh, you can't possibly solve this problem. Let's bounce.
Right. Game over.
Don't you know that for a person in STEM, a problem excites them?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're thinking, how can I solve this problem?
Right.
That's
Right.
their mindset. The mindset of an engineer is how to solve problems.
And entrepreneurs too.
Right. Exactly. People that are progressive, people that are trying to do something, are not sitting back going, oh, wow, this guy is Thanos. He's too powerful. I can't beat him.
Exactly.
They're trying to
Exactly.
solve whatever problem, whatever obstacle is in their way, and try to think of a way to get around it so they can accomplish what their goal is, which is whatever their goal is.
Right.
Our goal is nationhood.
Right.
So if you can't, it's like it's like, you know what it reminds me of, Minister?
What's that, sir?
You have a child and you're an adult. You have an adult mind, but you can't figure out how to get your child to take medicine.
Oh man.
So
Yep.
that child has outsmarted you.
Basically.
That's what you're admitting. Your child is smarter than you. You can't figure out as an adult how to get this child to take medicine that's good for them and that they need. And your obstacle is, well, you don't want to take it. Well, I guess that's it then. You have lost to a child.
Right.
And that's how I see people when it comes to nationhood in Liberia. Liberia was a lesson that we need to learn from. Black Wall Street was a lesson that we need to learn from. And yes, any problems that we had in those situations can be overcome. And we can also think about how to avoid other problems in the future if we incorporate that into the mix. So that's the answer to the Liberia question. That was number 10.
Yep.
Number
What's number
9,
9?
did you want to handle? Don't you need knowledge of self before you step one foot in Africa?
Yo, I really, they don't really want to go. They have massive backpedaling. Yep. I agree with you. I agree with you, brother. Yo, knowledge of self. Brothers and sisters, listen. Knowledge of self. Knowledge of self is different to everybody in this chat room. Knowledge of self is different to me and Holip.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that we agree on. There's some things that we may disagree on.
Mm-hmm.
Although me and him, more likely than not, fundamentally agree on most everything when it comes to knowledge of self. But the point is this, brothers and sisters. Knowledge of self, and I want to join this with the Eurocentric mind question. So hopefully we can answer the two of these at the same time.
What was the Eurocentric mind question? I think that was, number 3.
Yeah.
How can you go to Africa without taking your Eurocentric mindset with you? So we're going to do 3 and 9 right now.
Yes. Yes. First of all, you gonna have your Eurocentric mind no matter what you do. What do you think? Somebody's gonna beam a laser beam at your temple, and all of a sudden you're not gonna think like that anymore? Because brothers and sisters, you were born and raised here, yo. You were born and raised here, and just because you are woke does not mean that every once in a while you don't think like with your quote unquote Eurocentric mind. So the fact that, to me, the fact that you would want to be a part of a group that is talking about controlling their own contracts, to me, is enough of a knowledge of self for you to actually be able to do what we're trying to do. In addition to that, it's a social network and it's a community. So as you are a part of the community, people with various different walks of life will come into contact with you. You'll learn from them. They'll learn from you. And what is that saying? They say that you are the sum total of the 5 people that you hang around. So if you're in a social network with brothers and sisters who want to have land infrastructure nationhood, on the continent of our ancestors. All of that's going to rub off on you if you think with a Eurocentric mind. Now, if you don't think with a Eurocentric mind, if you think with a quote unquote, if you don't think with a woke mind or knowledge of self mind, if you think with a Eurocentric mind, and you're just here to start trouble, or you're an agent or whatever, there's enough of us around who have dealt with agents that I think that we can spot you. Now, this is something that I said on other shows, and maybe some of y'all have never heard this before. But as a young first lieutenant, I had a second lieutenant that was an agent in the temple. And the dude came in. He had been a former drug dealer, and he had been sent in by the police to take down a bunch of other people that was in the temple that were former drug dealers that turned their life around. Unfortunately, he succeeded. He was able to gather information from them because, they wasn't talking about this kind of stuff around us. But when he got them alone, he just happened to strike up conversations of some of the stuff that they used to do. Man, the next thing you know, I woke up in the morning, and there was a big sting in Albany. And it took down like 30 people, and there was 3 of them from the temple. And I was like, oh, shoot. We just naturally thought that somehow the past got caught up to him. But, man, what we ended up finding out was, number one, the guy took the stand and testified against them. That's number one. And number two, somebody had sent us actual documents from the police, literally sent us to us that named the dude and said, this person, so-and-so, it has been and can be used as an informant. Man, Holip, I cannot tell you how scared that made me. I was 24 years old looking at, because my teacher, who was my minister, I was just a lieutenant at that time, he pulled those documents out and showed it to us. I'm looking at that. I was like, this shit is real. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because, you could be on your YouTube channel or whatever, and you'd be like, yo, we're going to kill agents and stuff like that. It's easy to say that till you actually find an agent. And it's easy to say that until you find out that an agent has been a dude that you let in your house and have been around your family. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so therefore, once you have that experience, you're going to be able to spot an agent a mile away. Yep. And then there's other people who will be ex-military. There's people who will be ex-intelligence, and they'll come into the organization and they'll say, nah, son, that nigga over there, that nigga's the feds. And we'll be able to pick them out. So to me, I don't want none of y'all to worry about this Eurocentric mind thing. And let's be very honest. When you talk about Eurocentric mind, you are coming from your Dr. York conscious community platform. Basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to say Eurocentric mind is synonymous with religion. And quite frankly, like we told you before, we don't really care about that right now. What we care about is your ability to do the job. We will sort out all of that stuff once we get ready to make a move. But it's not something that you need to worry about right now because we're in the gathering stage. And if you really think that you want to I want to say this before I let Hollow come on. You brothers and sisters that have morality issues, you got homosexuality issues, you got spirituality issues, you have knowledge of self issues, or even language issues, which is the funniest of all the talking points that we're going to talk about. Whatever issue you have, it doesn't benefit you to sit on a sideline and tell us you're not joining because of that. You know what it benefits you to do? It benefits you to join us and you influence from the inside. Because to me, it's too easy for you to sit on the sideline. Like you got people now and they're saying, well, I don't want to be a part of something that's such and such so-and-so. I got to be vague because the person's going to take a shot at me on Facebook tomorrow. You know they're going to take a shot at me.
They take a shot at us anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that is true. And I kind of grow duck feathers at this point. But either way, what I'm saying to you is you are like homie that screams on black people, but we never seen his face. You're a coward. Point blank, you're a coward. You know what I'm saying? Come into the organization and affect change from the inside. And we're not telling you that you can't, you know what I'm saying, you can come into chat rooms and get belligerent. But what we're saying to you is that I want to deal with this issue right here. The issue is morality and strong black families. Okay, when we get to that, you'll be on that panel. You'll be on that panel because that's something to you. Meanwhile, we want you to come up with strong, hard data. We want you to come out with written out policies. We want you to, you know what I'm saying? Like, just talking about something doesn't impress me. Come up with policies, plans, and procedures and present them to the BAIO as a way that you can change. Don't use it as a reason to bounce or to criticize from the sidelines, because to me that's cowardice.
You are
By
much kinder than me.
the
I'll just say that because I say bounce. I say that the problem that you're saying that you're trying to quote unquote address can't even be addressed by that person.
Hmm.
Even once the nation is established, they can't address it.
Right. Right.
I have written them off as totally disingenuous because you see, the issue is this. It's just like that analogy that I said about the 10 people in the room with the working light bulb in the socket.
Hmm.
If those 10 people really want that room to be with light, they'll do whatever they have to do to make sure that that light gets into that socket.
Right.
But if
Hmm.
you have certain people in there that's making an issue because they want to be the one to put the light bulb in and they ain't going to sacrifice themselves so that another person can do, so then the room will stay in darkness perpetually forever.
Right. Yep.
That's those type of people. You don't need to be there. Get the fuck
Hmm.
out.
Hmm.
We'll make the 9 work.
Right. Yep.
That's basically, like I said, you much nicer than me. I'm ready to get rid of these motherfuckers. Goodbye.
I mean, but big brother, here's the thing though. Even though I'm extending the olive branch, they won't take it anyway because they church folk. They the
Exactly.
kind of they the kind of people that are looking for something to not be a part of because it's too much work to try to change from the inside. You got to
You
try to,
know, wow. You know how funny that sounds? Like I just heard you saying it. It just sounds so crazy. They're looking for something to not be a part of.
right.
Wow.
It's mental illness, bro.
That
It's
is deep, man.
word up. It's mental illness. I've seen it so many times. It's like I said before, there is men and women who bounce. Like in the religious circles, you see a man and a woman. They bounce from church to church to church, and they get find a problem with the church, and they move on. They find a problem with the church, move on. It's the same thing in the Islamic circles. It's the same thing as any place else. But that's not limited to religion. It's also in the Pan African groups or whatever. You find people who move on from group to group because no group is good enough for them. And after 3 or 4 groups, the leader of the next group, if he's wise and intelligent, been doing this for years, would be like, "Yo, it's been 4 or 5 groups that you've been a part of. How come you didn't stay around?" Well, because this one wasn't right, and that one wasn't right, this one wasn't right. And as you're saying that, that person is sitting there and they're counting the amount of groups that you said. And they say, okay, they won't say nothing to you. They say, okay, because I've done this to many people. You know what I'm saying? And they be
Hmm.
like, okay. Then they go and they talk to their core constituents and they say, man, them brothers and sisters is trouble. Don't put no stock in them. They'd be like,
Mm.
why? It's been 5 different organizations they've been a part of, and they didn't settle down in one. So after your fourth organization, it's not the organization, it's you. And I used to have a saying when I was younger, when I used to do counseling. People used to come in my office or whatever. I used to always say, listen, if one person tells you that you're sick, then you could tell them that they're an asshole. If 2 people tell you you're sick, then you could still say that, but you better think about it. If 3 people tell you you're sick, you need to take your black ass to the doctor.
Hmm.
So if you have been around 3 to 4 groups and none of those groups accepted you, you found a problem with all of them. The problem is you.
Yeah.
The
Bottom
problem is you.
line, you should do a show. I'm going to put in a request for you to do a show, and the title of the show should be "Looking for Something to Not Be a Part of."
Word. I'll do that.
Yeah, because that when you said that, I was like, "Whoa, that is deep, man.
It's unfortunate, bro.
That is deep." But I think we hit that. We hit 9 and 3 out the park.
Right?
Actually, 8 too, because the 8 was what religion will be practiced in African. Can I take that one?
Yes, please. But
I
let me
know it
just
may
say this.
seem.
Let
Yeah,
me
go
just say
ahead.
this real quick. Come on, son. Come on, son.
Um, I'll do what I don't usually like people to do, but I'll answer that question with a question of my own. What religion is practiced in America?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
does it matter? When you
Hmm.
get up, when you're home right now listening to this broadcast, how does religion play a part in that? When you
Word.
wake up in the morning and you go to work, how does religion play a part in that?
Word.
Why are you making religion out to be this big, all-encompassing thing that really is just a personal choice of yours?
Right.
Nobody gives a shit about your religion. I don't. I don't even give a damn if you don't believe in religion or God. I don't care.
Word.
Because one of the things about this is the thing that I don't understand about people that call themselves religious and people that say that they believe in God. Why does it bother you if somebody else doesn't? Because to me, if I know that there is a God, somebody saying that there is no God wouldn't threaten me at all. Because it's almost like saying, yo, I don't believe that the sun rises in the morning. Does the sun depend upon your belief or not? The sun is going to do what the sun does.
Right.
So if you really believe in God, why does it threaten you if somebody else doesn't? Because that person is obviously wrong, right? But maybe they're challenging a belief that you ain't really that sure about.
Exactly.
See, this is it all boils down to security. And this is why I said I made the statement and I'll make it again. I'm comfortable making this statement and y'all can record this and you can replay it because like I said, my position has been consistent. So if you want to misrepresent my position, go right ahead. But I'm going to make the point again. If you are so-called heterosexual man with the bitch H on your chest and the cape,
yep,
Mr. Alpha Male, and you are living in the United States of America, how against homosexuality are you really?
Exactly.
I challenge everybody who claims like you got a problem with the bachi and the da and the homo this and the homo that. Take your black ass on a plane to Uganda and become a Ugandan citizen because in Uganda there's a no tolerance policy. Maybe on the weekend you can go out with the rest of your Ugandan friends and kill some homosexuals.
Word up. They kill you, but
Keep it real, nigga. Keep it real. Don't be a citizen of the United States of America. Become a citizen of Uganda where there's a no tolerance policy. And that way you can go on your homosexual killing spree on the weekend with them.
Yep.
Until then, shut the fuck up, you homo ass nigga.
You homo ass tour guide.
Yeah. 12 years a tour guide.
Yo, let me repeat. Oh, you were going to say something? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Let me just say something I heard you say a long time ago that was beautiful, man, that really touched my heart. And I never thought about it till you said it. It was me, you, and Kala on the show. Matter of fact, it was all of us. We was on the Chef Rob show. We used to do it like that back in the day. Where is Chef Rob nowadays? Anyway, that's another story.
Oh, I don't know. I've been trying to reach out to him, but I haven't gotten him lately.
He'll show up. We know how he is.
Yeah.
He disappears and he shows up.
Yeah.
And he does a
He'll
whole
come
bunch
out
of
and
shows.
then knock out like 10 shows.
Yep. My brother. But yo, what you call it? You said in America, I'm a progressive, but when we have our own nation, I become a conservative. Yo, that right there, I sat back. I literally got off that radio show. I thought about that for like an hour. I said, wow. Because here's the thing. I don't get mad at Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Michael Savage, and all the rest of it. I can't even count how many of them there are now. Because let's just call this, let's just call vanilla vanilla. I was going to say spade is spade, but spade is black. These people are loyal soldiers to the white cause. They are trying to conserve and preserve white America. You cannot blame them for that because they're white.
Right.
And if I was white, I would do the same thing too. I wouldn't be on the fence. I wouldn't be on the fence if I was white. You think if I was white, I would be like, oh, we got to help our black brothers? I would be just like them because it's their country and they're in power and they want to be in power. So in our nation, I become conservative. Point blank. I become conservative. I don't give a damn. It's all about black people. It's all about the black man and what the black man, woman, and child can do and what I can do for them and improve their quality of life. Because eventually, as we grow and prosper, of course, there will be other nations that will do trade with us and things like that. But it's still going to be a nation, and we're not going to hide it, that it's going to be predominantly for black people. We're not even going to hide that. And so, therefore, when you brothers and sisters ask us certain things about the BAIO and what we're trying to do, you really have to understand why we did what we did in creating these principles. because the principles that we stand on are designed to unite people on something, on one common cause. One
Right.
common cause, which is we don't care who, what, when, where, how. Do you want a nation? Period. And if you want a nation, then that makes you a black conservative. Not a black
Right.
conservative in America for the Republican Party, but that means you want to conserve black African nationality. That's what you want to
Thank
conserve.
you.
And so therefore, the reality of it is that all this other stuff such as spirituality, religion, do you not think that that's going to work itself out under those auspices? Do you not think that that's going to kind of cure a lot of stuff under that kind of, like, you really got to think in the positive and ask yourself not what is wrong with what the BI are doing, but damn, if that was to happen, what would it look like? And I'll say this, my mentor that I go see my mentor every Sunday. I call it going to see the Oracle. And he always kind of helps me to learn how to communicate and deal with people. And it's one of the most wonderful things that I suggest anybody, all of you brothers and sisters out there, they tell you that you should have at least 3 mentors, but you need at least one. And one of the things he says, Dawud, he says, you got to ask people, if we was to do this and that, what would it look like? And to me, I think that's a beautiful question.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you ask somebody that, it is not like you are being condescending or judgmental, but you're giving them the ability to take what vision y'all are building together and expand it from their point of view. So I ask you, brothers and sisters, detractors and supporters, if you had a black African nation, a nation off the shores of America, on the continent of your ancestors, outside of the jurisdiction of America, what would it look like to you? What would it look like to you? And none of your answers is wrong. None of your answers is wrong. But you know when you become wrong? You become wrong when you say, that's why I'm not joining y'all. Because you haven't even given your vision a chance yet. What
Mm-hmm.
you have done is you have taken yourself out. So let me ask you this. Who are you going to join as an alternative? You're going to join the
Right.
tour guide and go to Ghana? What you gonna do? You gonna join an organization that wants to stay here and do it right here? Let me tell you this to you, brothers and sisters, before we move on. If you talk to the average brother or sister who is not woke, what we call lost found in the teaching of Elijah Muhammad, but everybody got their version for somebody that's deaf, dumb, and blind, right? Have you spoken to these brothers and sisters? Have you spoken to those who don't know and don't want to know? Have you seen how desolate it is out there? For you to be wanting to now find people who think like you but pick fights with us? To me, you understand what I'm saying, Holip?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you had to create a partition on Facebook called Holipsism's Haven, a place for brothers and sisters to get away from the bullshit. And we are now giving you a whole independent site on Ning's site, and you want to find fault with it.
Yeah. Um, Odas 80 says your liberal white friends are conservative at the end of the day.
Without a doubt, sister. Without a doubt. And we're finding that out more and more because why wouldn't you want to be? Why wouldn't you want to preserve whiteness if you was white? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I be asking people that. People get offended when white people talk in certain ways, and they, you know what I'm saying? Like there's this new movement of black people who chase white people down for saying nigger on somebody's camera. Why are you
Oh
doing
boy.
that?
Yeah.
Why are you
Because
doing
you
that?
know why they're doing it. Those are what I call the militant integrationists. They believe that there's equality,
Right.
that you're going to get equality in another person's system.
Right.
They believe that in their heart and soul. So they feel that if I just make enough noise and I keep banging the drum, eventually we'll be equal. Well, good luck with that.
Mhm.
Good luck with that. Because that's the same as you staying in that relationship with this dude that's giving you right hands and uppercuts every time he walks through the door.
Right.
So you deal with that. You keep thinking, well, maybe if I just duck, from the haymaker this time, he won't catch me with this. You get engaged in that lunacy if you want to.
Right.
I won't be there.
Man, brother, I tell you, I want to say it was like 1999 or 2000. I remember we went down with like an army of dudes to Harlem, and we had FOI uniforms on, and we were selling Muhammad Street's newspapers, and they were like reprints from back in the day. And you talking about pre-gentrified Harlem, not the modern Harlem, but pre-gentrified Harlem, where it's streams and streams of black people walking down the street. And see, me, being a young soldier, I used to soldier in Harlem when I was in like 1991, 1992. Boy,
Mm-hmm.
it was totally different, bro. It was totally different. All those people was walking by us like we didn't even exist. And I said, what happened to the mentality of these people down here? You know what I'm saying? So the reality of it is that if you really look around, you better cling on to the people who believe like you and think like you. I just know that
Yep.
because it is very desolate out there, and black people are so quick to talk about power and the Kiki challenge, and there's some bullshit out there about jerk rice. I don't understand what that's about, and you know what I'm saying? Like all these trivial topics that black people on a whole are into, and you finally find some people who are about nationhood. And I say again, you're gonna ask us if we had the right language before we go to Africa. Like, what the hell?
Mm.
So let's deal with
Well,
that real quick.
let's move. All right. Well, I guess we kind of knocked out most of these. Well, no, this one that number 7 is it safe to go to Africa? We haven't touched on that.
Oh my God, you go first.
Um, how do I even address this? Is it safe to go out in Flatbush?
Word.
Is it safe to travel in Brownsville? Like I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but maybe I'm the wrong person to answer this. But when I was younger, I was the oldest of the people of my generation. So my cousins and my nephews, all of them were younger than me by about 4 or 5 years.
Hmm.
So when we would go out, I was the one that was responsible for them.
Right.
And so we would go out and we would go anywhere we wanted to go. My nephew and my cousins and them can tell you they were not afraid to go anywhere with me. We went to Harlem, we went to the Bronx, and I'm talking about the Bronx, graffiti Bronx.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Y'all don't know what that means.
You know what I'm saying? We went
Y'all
anywhere that
massive
we.
levels of Puerto Ricans.
Thank
Holy
you,
mackerel.
thank you.
Oh
And we
man.
used to go everywhere, and we never were afraid. Never were afraid. We would walk the streets of Harlem, walk the streets of Brooklyn, walk the streets of the Bronx. We would go all over New York City, anywhere I remember one day in particular, we walked from I think it was 145th Street.
Mhm.
Might have been even higher than that, but I believe it was like 145th Street when we started walking to Brooklyn,
Hmm. Damn.
downtown
Well,
Brooklyn. We just
I
walked
miss
over
those
the
days.
bridge. Dude, we just made it, like it was just we started out and we just did it. We just kept going.
Yo,
We were having a good time.
you definitely are my brother from another mother. Word up.
Yeah. That's shit that we used to do all the time, man.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't understand this scared to go to Africa stuff. Because first of all, this is what we have to understand. This is the reason why we have chapters in other places. We are about satellite nations, satellite communities.
Right.
So if you're gonna go to, let's say, Namibia or something, we have people in Namibia that you can talk to.
Word.
That it
Yep.
can give you a lay of the land. If you got and like if I was to go to South Africa right now, I would feel very comfortable because I got a bunch of people in South Africa that's gonna hook me up
Mhm.
when I go there.
Mhm.
This is the place, this area you can stay in. Don't stay here because this is near this. Da 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 da. I don't believe in going to a place just blind.
Hmm. Yo, you know
Oh, and
what?
this is, you know what? I got to hold back a portion of my answer because I have the answer finally to the where to land at question in number 1, but I'm going to hold on to that.
Okay, but let me checkmate that question with one simple answer. There's a dude on YouTube. His name is Dynas. You probably heard of him. Maybe you haven't. He's kind of new, you know what I'm saying? But guess what? Dynas goes to Africa like 2 to 3 times a year, and Dynas comes back. He actually comes back. Um, I could be lying, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm making that up, but I've seen pictures of him over there. He's back here now,
Yeah, he just
and
came back from Nigeria.
yeah, he is, and it llooks like he couldn't wait to do shows because I just seen the blitzkrieg of notifications come across, and I was like, oh man, Diane is at it again. But the point is that he didn't get killed, brothers and sisters. You got to stop watching so much TV. He didn't get killed. He was over there. You see him with his legendary flip flop. I love that dude. He got his legendary flip flops on. He's with his people here. He's with his people there. He didn't get killed. So the thing is that some of you brothers and sisters who actually watch Dyna's show, you're gonna ask us if it's safe to go to Africa. And our brother goes to Africa 3 to 4 times a year. So it's like, I'm not, I guess, listen, here's the thing, because I want to answer these questions according to the disingenuousness of it. And there's some people out there who really just don't know. They really are scared of Africa, and they really don't think that, like, they've heard that somehow, some way, it's, you could die over there and somebody kill you, to take your money, blah, 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 blah. So they've been scared. So to those of you who honestly are asking that question, listen, we have a brother in the BAIO. His name is Dynas. We love him to death. He goes to Africa. He comes back. You know what I'm saying? So it is possible. If you go over there on some craziness and you don't ask questions, you don't hook up with people, you don't network or whatever, and you just on some, I'm going over there by yourself, good luck with that, though.
Also, Minister, how is it any different? Like, would you go over? I'm here in America. There are places in America that I haven't been to.
Truth be told, yeah.
There are states in America that I haven't been to. What would it look like for me to pack my bags and go to, like, let's say, Kansas? And I don't know shit about Kansas.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's just basic common sense. Like, what you try to do before you move anywhere is you try to find out as much about that area as you can. And how do you do that? Speak to the local people. Speak to the people that's actually there, boots on the ground.
Right. Right.
So this is so it's kind of crazy. Maybe I'm being dismissive of it, and maybe that is a fault of mine, because I guess when we know certain things or we think a certain way, and people come at us with this, we automatically think they're being disingenuous, but maybe they're not. Maybe that's actually a concern of theirs.
I think it is, bro. I think a lot of people really think that, like straight up, like, you go over there and you're gonna get killed on site.
Yeah, the moment you come out the plane,
Yo.
Get that nigga.
Word up. Yo, remember that video Sutek did, that Sonetta's right-hand man did years ago? It was like a 45-minute video of why we shouldn't go to Africa.
Yeah, I remember that bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, a lot of people seen that, you know what I'm saying? And it really didn't help the cause. It just didn't.
That's why I went in on him.
I remember.
I went in on his ass. I told him, you want that dude to debate me? Set it up. I will destroy his ass.
We still ain't get no answer.
You ain't gonna get no answer. They don't want none. They don't.
Yo, let me say this one thing to your point, which is kind of unrelated. I am a certified Nationhood graffiti artist, and when you mention graffiti Bronx, I just have to say this to all of y'all. For you to be inducted into the ranks, you got to be taught by a Puerto Rican. It's really just that simple.
Shout out to Robert Rivera.
Word up. Shout out to Angel Lopez. Because if you say you do graffiti and you was not taught by a Puerto Rican, I don't respect you. I don't respect you.
Yo.
I don't know what it is with them.
Minister, I'm gonna be real with you. One of my best friends from back in the days is a Puerto Rican dude named Robert Rivera. This dude was as thorough as you get.
Man, I could believe
thorough.
It. Yo, you remember that group, ASW, Atomic Subway Warriors?
Oh, hell yeah.
Most of them dudes is Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Rocksteady.
Yep. By the way, because, we tend to veer off, and we're going to veer off anyway. Yo, is you going to see that Predator movie?
I am.
I'm definitely going to see it.
I'm going to see it. And Shane Black is doing it. So he's pretty good. I think a lot of people were trying to, like, they didn't really feel the trailer. But I'm going to go check it out. I think it might be decent.
Word. Listen, I am I'm a Die-in-the-Wool Predator fan. I'm loyal to a fault, because that last movie where they had the 3 moons on the Earth, that movie was whack as hell. With what was it, Larry Fishburne playing that? And, oh my God, that was terrible. But
oh yeah, yeah, that was the last Predator they did, right?
Yep. But just the idea of an alien being with some infrared thing that could chop your head, like, I still love the concept to this day. And at first I was skeptical about the Alien versus Predator war thing, because I love aliens and I love predators, and it's like, it's like Reese's peanut butter cups. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like two great things that go great together. And I didn't think it went together, but I actually liked the war part of it. I didn't like the you know what I'm saying, the human part of it, because I just think that they needed to get it the hell out the way. But
Yeah.
never, you know what I'm saying? Like every time there was a human involved, like Sanaa Lathan, and it just was kind of stupid to me. To
Hmm.
this day, from my money, my daughter was asking me about this because my 15-year-old daughter, that's my right hand homie, and she said, "Why don't you watch all of the alien movies?" I said, "Because I don't watch any horror movie where you don't have the how can I say it? Where you don't have the capability to fight back. So in other words, it does not excite me to watch people get chased around by an alien for 2 hours.
Right.
But when you go in and you got a pulse rifle and you can kind of dead niggas, I want to watch that. You know what I'm saying? I want to watch that because y'all getting too much power. So when you could go up in there and you could really blast the queen and all that other stuff, I want to watch that. So nothing to me. I don't know if you agree though. Nothing has come close to the Aliens movie, like the actual Aliens movie with the Marines. Nothing has
Mhm.
come close to that. Everything else to me. I mean,
Oh
Prometheus
no, that's Cameron right there. People can say what they want to about James Cameron, but James Cameron is one of the best directors ever.
for real,
That goes without saying.
for real.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
but wait, let's get back. All right, so we handled it. Is it safe to go to Africa? I think.
Right.
I don't think we need to touch on what about morality and what about spirituality because we already did that,
Yep.
and we did number three. How can you go to Africa without taking your Eurocentric mindset with you? So
Yep.
we only have three more to go.
Okay.
And number four is, shouldn't we learn an African language before we go to Africa?
Oh my God.
I'll let you handle that.
Brothers and sisters, listen. BAIO. Sister Bell, do you speak Creole? I'm pretty sure you do. BAIO is an amalgamation of black men and black women from the whole African diaspora. So the question is, do you think that we only recruiting English speaking black people? Because I'm pretty sure my beautiful sister speaks Creole and French because she's Haitian. And then we're going to have sisters from Jamaica and they speak patois. And then we're going to have, we're going to have some people that speak Spanish. So the reality of it is that if y'all are saying, well, should we learn an African language, we're going to have some brothers and sisters from the continent that speak a whole bunch of different languages.
Hmm.
But the reality of it is that when we go to negotiations, do you think we're going to speak English and they're going to speak some African dialect that we don't know and we're just going to sit in the room and look at each other? Is that what y'all think?
And
That's what,
this is another example, Minister, of people not using current philosophy and applying it to your nation. Africans speak multiple languages.
truth be told. Truth be told.
So there's the answer to your question. Why are you thinking that there has to be this one? Why do we have this there can only be one mentality?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And
This
that comes from what's his
Highlanders
name there though, right?
bullshit.
Doesn't that come from what's his name there? The language god I call him.
Who's that?
What's his name there? I don't even want to mention his name, because I did battle with him years ago. But I saw he's on the Ning site, so I respect that. But homie, that he's big on coming up with your own language and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Well, he's not the he. When I think of that, I don't think about him because I don't think he knows about that. I think he references other people, but
No,
he doesn't know.
so we had to address that before with him and remember him and Asar Imhotep came after us behind that. You don't
Well,
remember that?
Sar and Hotep is probably the one who I was thinking about.
Right.
This is somebody else.
No, this what's his name? Chizoro. What's his name?
Oh
Chizoro.
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, I know who you're
Remember
talking
him?
about. I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about. But he's
that's a
not a
dude.
linguist.
Yeah, but that's his
Yeah,
wheelhouse.
that's his
Like,
thing because he's basically oh damn, do I really want to get into
we might as well, right?
yeah, he's not a linguist, but he puts that at the forefront, like that and a tribe, because
Right.
that was one of the things that Bacala of North America, the book that Asar and Hotep wrote, which is a very good book, by the way. Like I said, if you haven't read that book, I suggest you read it because there was a lot of good points in there.
Mhm.
A lot of things that he made, a lot of points that he made that actually back up what we're talking about.
Right.
Because one of the points that he had made in his book was that Black folks don't have a connection to the land.
Hmm.
Like with the Native American people, they had a connection to the land and they
Right.
based their culture around the land.
Right.
We're foreigners here.
Right.
You know, you can try to claim that bullshit all you want to, but you ain't doing nothing Native American.
Right.
Nothing. So don't come to me with oh, we was here first. Well, what you doing? What aspect of indigenous culture are you practicing?
Right.
Since you was here first, how is it that the person who came after you has more of a mastery of it than you do?
Let me answer Mr. Avery Hart. Big brother, they be asking us these questions, brother.
Oh yeah, man. I wish that oh, thank you. Let me say this. Actually, why am I doing it? I can post the damn
No, I mean,
fact in the
I'm pretty
group.
sure the big brother, he's asking an honest question, but I'm big brother, you would be surprised, brother. They ask us these questions all the time. That's why we can flow with it so easily because we've been hearing these questions for like 5, 6 years now.
Yeah. I just posted a link in the group to the post that I put in the BAIO website with the frequently asked questions. Please, if you have a question that you constantly getting asked, put it in that fact because the reason why I put that there is that we are going to develop a BAIO fact. It's just that
Yep.
I want to get all of these talking points together and all of these questions so that I can go through them and put it into some because a lot of them bleed into the other. Like
Right.
what we was doing with the do you need knowledge of self before you step one foot into Africa goes right in line with how can you go to Africa without taking your Eurocentric mindset with you. So what I'm trying to do is get all of them and kind of group them together into categories and address them one by one.
Right.
So if you're in the BAIO, go to that fact that I just posted and just put the question that you continually get asked. That's the only point I wanted to make.
Wow, we got somebody from Denver, Colorado. That's
No
a
doubt.
beautiful that's a beautiful thing, man. Hey, no problem, big brother. No problem. Anytime. Um, but real talk though, brothers and sisters, like we're gonna have people that have various different dialects, and that's the beautiful thing about Black people in the diaspora is that we come from all walks of life and we speak all sorts of different dialects. We have chapters in Africa, so therefore, you know what I'm saying? Like that's not really going to be a concern of ours. Trust me.
And let me
So
just make this final point to put the period on it.
sure.
Um, how long do you think it takes if you have a language that's a new language? How long does it take for that language to become fluent, for the populace to become fluent in that new language, and for it to become a part of the business language? How many
Hmm.
generations do you think that would take?
Wow, I don't know, man. How much? How many?
A lot. So,
Yep.
so the language that I speak now is English. The language that most African Americans speak is English. That's going to be the official language initially in African. English. Are there going to be other languages that we learn? Of course, because we're in Africa. We're not in
Mhm.
America. So
Yep.
the surrounding countries around us speak different languages. We're going to learn them all.
Right.
So there's really no conflict. Right now, language is about communication. That's what language. If I'm speaking French and you're speaking English, we're not communicating with each other.
Right.
So that's all it's about. It's a communication. Speak a common language so that we can understand each other. It's not deeper than that. But let's get through this. That was the third one. Number two, what can you do for Africa?
Oh my God. What can't we do for Africa, y'all? What can't we do for Africa? Brothers and sisters, it's like everybody from other countries come here, learn stuff, go back to their country. Somehow, because we were born here, we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can I do for Africa? Oh, I don't know. I can help them secure it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Security is my life. If you have any access to my Facebook page, then you know that I live, breathe, and eat security. You know what I'm saying? I get goosebumps when my security magazines come in the mail, and that's real talk. I don't care how you take that. And so therefore, my life is security, basically business security, but also residential security. And when I say security, I'm not talking about being a guard and just looking at stuff. I'm talking about electronic, I'm talking about physical, and basically an awareness of policies that you should use as well as cybersecurity. That's my wheelhouse, that's my expertise. And I owe it to our nation to become the best guy I can in that, which
hmm
means that I have to become a monster. And this is what we talk about nationhood. You know, man, You know what? The funny thing about it is I told Holip, I said, "Oh, brother, I ain't gonna be able to make this show," and here it is, we doing 2 hours. So anyway, I guess I'm never gonna do because once I get on, I just get fired up. But you know what I want to do next week as a sidebar? Let's talk about satellite communities next week. That would
Oh,
be kind of cool.
definitely. You see
Yeah,
all the
word
info
up.
I've been putting out lately?
Yes, without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely. I want to get into that, and I guess that's what Robert Grissom was talking about. That I was just trying to explain to Robert that we are going to. It's kind of hard to talk about strategies and tactics with something that is not that's in development. It's really hard because you can't really have any clear and concise strategy and tactics when we don't even know. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself because that's going to be the last question that we deal with.
Right.
Um,
But basically, at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, is like that. That's just what it is. It's like we all can help Africa who are experts in what we do. And don't say we can't. Bell is an expert in the medical field. You know what I'm saying? I'm an expert in the security field. You know, we all have you know, we're all innovating ourselves to the best person we can be in our field to have nationhood pride. And when we have true nationhood pride, which means that we're not only doing this for ourselves and our families, but we're doing this for the future people who are going to be in our nation, that's when you really have true nationhood. See, nationhood, brothers and sisters, that's another topic that we're going to have a whole show on one of these Wednesdays where we really talk about what nationhood is, because I think that people have a lot of people have various different ideas of what nationhood is. And the
mhm.
fact that you are asking us about religion and spirituality and things like that, to me means that you really don't, and this is no disrespect, it means you don't understand nationhood. The flag has nothing to do with your religion. The flag has nothing to do with your religion. It has
Right.
nothing to do with your spirituality also. The
Mhm.
flag is a symbol of a collective. And I remember back in the day, you know, me and you are comic book fans, but I don't know if you. I'm gonna hit you with a curveball here. There was this comic book that had come out in the late '80s, early '90s called, well, late '80s, excuse me, mid '80s, called Contest of Champions.
Oh, hell
And
yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
And this comic was like the precursor to the Secret Wars. Like they tried
Mhm.
it again with Secret Wars, they got it right, but Contest of the Champion was like a clunky, not well planned version of Secret Wars. So
Right.
anyway, it introduced a lot of international superheroes. And the one I loved the most, this dude, he was a Chinese dude. He was called Nine Continents.
Mm.
And not, excuse me, not Nine Continents. That's a Japanese comic book. I'm sorry. His name was the Collective Man. Remember him?
Collective man. Vaguely. I have to go back in my files for that. I vaguely remember that.
Well, basically, Collective Man looked like your normal Chinese dude, had the same Chinese haircut or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And the Hulk in one of the contests, because basically they pit superheroes against each other. The Hulk had this dude on the ground, going to punch him in his light, like punch his lights out. And on the front of his face, you started seeing all sorts of Chinese people. And what happened is this collective guy, he was able to draw on the collective might. I'm starting to get the chills. Think about this. He was able to draw on the collective might of everybody in China, punch Hulk in the face and knock them for like 5 to 10 miles. And I said, I was deaf, dumb, and blind back then, but I said, this is kind of dope.
Yeah.
This is kind of
Isn't
dope. Like,
Champion of the Universe from that too?
yes, yep.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
So
you're right.
to me, that's a character that embodies nationhood. When your mind thinks like that collective man, when everything that you do has the collective interest of nationhood, of African in your mind, heart, and soul, that's what nationhood is. It puts to rest all these questions that we're answering. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I gotta find that dude. I gotta do some research on Collective Man because I forgot about that. You're right.
Word up, man.
I totally forgot about that. We need to put that at the forefront.
Word up. I mean, I was just like, wow, I couldn't even believe they came up with an idea like this, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, they had some Jewish chick named Lysabra or something like that, and you know, she used these pins that had poison on them or whatever. But the collective man, he was the one that I liked the most.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and just to touch on, like I said, put the period on this. Only problem that I have with the question of what can you do for Africa is that it's one-sided. It's not
right,
just about what we can do for Africa. It's what can Africa do for us.
yep,
It's a a mutually beneficial thing. It's not just us feeling like we have nothing to offer and Africa just, we're sitting back like with their arms crossed, like, well, what can you do, nigga? It's like that's not the vision that I see. I see us having mutually beneficial interest.
Right, right, right.
So it's not just what we can do for Africa. What can Africa do for us as well? It's not a one-sided thing. So I just wanted to make that point.
Indeed, bro.
And the last one, and the number one is where the land at? Can I answer that?
Without a doubt. Take us out.
The land is in Africa. That's the answer. That's where the land at. The land is on the African continent. I know what the next question is going to be. The next question, well, where on the Africa? Africa has a lot of countries. I'm like, oh, so you want somebody to do the research for you?
Right.
So you want us to go and do all the research about a particular country to determine where that's going to be the place that we want to go, but you don't want to be a part of that process?
Exactly.
Because that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do. When you want to pick a land, why are you picking that land? Where's that land located in relationship to the shore?
Right.
Is it coastal land? Is it inland? What's on the land? What are the resources on the land? Have you done any surveying of that land?
Right.
See, these are all things that you have to do when you start talking about where your nation should be. So do you think we haven't even flown a drone over Angola yet?
Right.
We haven't even flown a drone, and now I just posted up in the BAIO how drone technology is allowing you to do surveying, making surveying much easier than surveying used to be.
Right.
So all this technology, this modern technology, is making nationhood more and more feasible,
right,
and more tangible, and we haven't even gotten to the process of doing that yet. But you can, Mr. Where the Land At?
Word.
Is there a particular land or a particular country that you're interested in? Why don't you put in the research and put in the hard work to find out and give the BAIO all of the data that you compile from all the research that you've done on this land? No. What you want to do is you want somebody else to twist in the wind for you. What you want is for somebody else to do all the hard work and you don't do nothing. Get your ass into the game. That's the reason why the BAIO network was set up, so that these people, right now, I love the fact I can go on the BAIO website right now and I see people in Colorado talking to each other. They didn't ask permission from Holip,
right,
a minister or Kala.
Right.
There's people in California that's talking to each other, figuring out how they're going to get together and where they're going to meet at. All over this country, people are getting together and communicating and networking with other people of like mind. That's what's going on right now.
One thing I can assure y'all too, they're not talking about how they can have free sex.
Thank you.
That keeps coming up. I don't want to be a part of a group that has free sex. That what y'all think they're talking about at the meetups?
Do you know, me and Dev used to talk about this, Minister. Me and Dev would have conversations all day long, and sex wouldn't even come up.
Right.
Everybody seems like, because the average woman seems to think that men only get together and talk about sex. I would say probably 100% of our conversations have not been about sex.
Not at all.
Me and you, just between the both of us. We haven't talked. We haven't even broached the subject.
Nope.
So where's this mindset that the only thing men is doing is sitting around talking about sex? It's a myth.
Word.
Or maybe you ain't dealing with the right type of man.
Oh shoot, the Kenya chapter had a meeting?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. They actually posted a picture of it.
Listen, like you really can't stop us.
It's unstoppable. See, this is the reason why. And if you notice, the more we are making progress, the more that we are getting attacked. And when I say we, I mean me.
Right. Yep.
Because if you feel you can attack me, that you're going to upend the BAIO, good luck, nigga.
Exactly.
Good luck, because I'm not even relevant, son. I'm not even relevant to what's going on right now. What's going on is taking on a life of its own. And there's nothing you can do to stop it, because you got to attack land infrastructure nationhood in order to stop it. And good luck with that.
that I have to say this before we go. That was the most bizarre thing about that email exchange with that one misguided individual.
Hmm.
It's like every time the dude wanted to say peace, he put hashtag LIN and then he put peace. Was that not bizarre to you?
No, because I know that mentality. It's not bizarre at all.
I just
Once you understand where a person is coming from, nothing that they do is going to shock you or surprise
word.
you. There's a question in the chat room from Victoria G. My apologies if this was already discussed. Got on late, no problem. You're here. That's all that matters, Victoria. However, how do we build and own without them taking and infiltrating the process progress? Can I answer that?
Yeah, because we did. So go ahead.
Um, Spies, Victoria, if you ever get a chance, I want you to pick up The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Yep.
There's a chapter in The Art of War where Sun Tzu dedicates to spies. In other words, spies come with the territory. If you think
Right.
that you're going to have any organization without spies, you are sadly mistaken.
Oh yeah.
So the
Every last
question
one.
is, you got to know what type of spy they are and what purpose that they serve and how you can use them.
Hmm.
So infiltration is not, we're going to be infiltrated. Expect that. We're probably infiltrated now. To be honest with you, because
Right.
this is the time where you get the infiltration. When you're at the baby stages before the thing can get out of the crib. But the problem is, it's like me and my brother talk about this all the time. I used to go to the Slave Theater in Brooklyn when it was
Mhm.
around. So I already know that I'm on the list. I already know my phone's getting tapped. I already know this. The
Oh yeah.
question is, what difference does it make? Like I still say the same things that I say. I still talk the same things that I talk. What are you going to do about it? You're listening to it, but what can you do? Are you going to arrest me?
Right.
I'm not breaking any laws.
Right.
So as long as I'm not on this kill whitey shit, which is that's how you can usually tell when somebody is an agent.
Mhm.
When they want to push the movement into a violent direction, that's that is an agent.
Hmm.
That's
And you
a
know what?
clear cut sign that you have an agent in your midst when they want to push the conversation to violence.
Exactly. It's like I keep trying to tell y'all, like the quickest way for you to get locked up and charges trumped on you is to come on social network talking about kill Whitey.
Exactly.
The quickest way. Like if you don't want to pass go, you just want to go straight to jail and don't collect your $200. Jump on YouTube and say Black African Power. These devils need to be killed. I'm tired of these devils. I need three good men. All you got to do is talk that stuff. And Monopoly will not allow you to buy property on Boardwalk, Park Place, or even St. James. They're gonna put your black ass in jail. You will not collect your $200, and that's gonna be that.
How many
Like,
examples have we seen of it?
oh my God,
Remember our sister, what the hell was her name?
Corin Gaines.
No, not her, but she's included. But there was another sister who was on Facebook. She used to call into my show. Me and her used to get into it a lot, but it was love.
Oh, you talking about Indy Nick?
No, not her. It was another light skinned girl. She's actually on my Facebook page, but regardless, she said something, and the feds came after her
Wow.
for a post that she put on Facebook. And me and Dev were the only ones who was defending her. Like everybody else was running for the tall grass
Wow.
because they just saw, oh, that's the feds, and they scattered like roaches. We was like, fuck the feds. She ain't
Word.
say nothing wrong.
Word. I mean,
And eventually it turned out to be nothing like we knew it would. But that's the
yo,
thing. It's like people they can't get me on something that I'm not doing.
right.
I'm not preaching violence. I don't even talk about white people.
Word.
Honestly, me and
There's
Minister
no,
don't talk about white people.
there's no need to.
Yeah, when we get together and we talk, we basically talking about, if we're not talking about, movies or the comics, we talking about infrastructure,
Right.
STEM,
Right.
latest technology, different ways of doing things like that. That's the thing that occupies our conversation, not white people. White people? Go through my content on my YouTube channel and tell me how many videos you can pull up where Holip is having a conversation about white people.
Yeah, and that's the thing that kind of pissed me off about the people's take on Black Panther. Like when people went to go see Black Panther, it wasn't about black people having a nation of their own on the continent. It wasn't about black people having technologically the most technologically advanced nation on the planet. It wasn't about that. It
Hmm.
wasn't about the fact that they had their own customs and they had their own original African dress and all the nuances that Ryan Coogler and the rest of them went in order to show you. What it was about was there was a white guy that saved the day. And to me, the thing that made me kind of laugh but was irritated about that is, dude, the white man was saving the day for a black
And
nation.
thank you. This is the part that nobody quite like, and I made that point before. This dude helped the interest of Wakanda.
Exactly.
So they used him.
Exactly. That doesn't
What
mean he becomes the president. That doesn't mean that he's in
exactly?
Congress. It doesn't mean that he makes decisions. He didn't buy stock in vibranium. He shut down a couple of he shot down a couple of planes and then they escorted his white ass out of that country. And that was
Exactly.
it.
That was it. He helped the interests of Wakanda and then he bounced and went back to America.
Yep.
How is that? But you know what it is? What it is that the white man is Thanos in their eyes. The white man is all powerful. Any
Right.
contact you come into a white man, he automatically takes control like a virus.
Exactly.
And that's how they have it in their mind. They can't understand the concept of them controlling. They can't understand the concept that at the end of the day, everybody in that battle worked for the interests of Wakanda.
Mhm.
They don't understand that.
Yep.
That was Wakandan interest. And he kept the weaponry from getting outside of Wakanda.
Exactly.
That was his purpose in the story.
Exactly. Hmm.
So it's the same equivalent of you in that 10-person room, not allowing that 10th person to get on your back, stand on your back so they can plug in that light in the socket.
Right.
You're more concerned about who's plugging it in than the room being with light
Right.
because you're a
Oh my
fucking
god.
moron.
Yep.
You're a dickhead.
Yep. I mean, the concept is so close to what we're talking about, which is this: if you're a black man and black woman in America, if you shoot down planes for America, what are you doing? You're helping America, right? But if you're a white person in Wakanda and you shoot down planes for Wakanda, you're shooting down those planes for America. What is wrong with your logic?
Their
That
logic is
doesn't,
that the white man is God.
you know what I'm saying? It's
That's
like,
their logic.
yeah, that's true.
The white man
Anyway,
is God.
it's 11 o'clock, big brother, and you can hear me wheezing. So I got to take me an asthma treatment and get up in the morning and go do this wonderful camera system and finish it. I love you.
Love you too.
Um, I'm gonna see you next week. I'm gonna do some research because we're gonna tear this satellite community thing wide open.
Yeah, I'm gonna book that.
Word up.
I'm gonna definitely
Um,
book that.
Peace and love to all my family in the chat room. Let me enunciate you. My dear sister Belle Thanos, brother D Nubian, Richard Von Dixon, Dundada, sister Odas 80, Rock City, New York. Hopefully you're at the meetup. Sister Sheedat Militant, Black Buddha. She's simply unique. Peace and love to all of you. I hope and pray that we gave you something to think about. I hope and pray we gave you an entertaining show. Also my sister Victoria G. And that's it for me. Peace and love. I'll see y'all next week.
Peace. And I'm gonna stay on for just a little bit. I'm getting off of here too, y'all. But peace to minister.
Peace, big bro. See
Um.
you Saturday.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll see you
Son, is you
Saturday
taking the
at 2
train, by the way?
p.m.
Is you taking the train?
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so we take the
Actually,
train
the
together.
train is right there. I believe. I think it's 116th on
Okay,
the
all right, so
C.
then
Hmm.
I'm gonna call you when I get into Brooklyn and we'll take the train together.
No doubt.
All right. Peace.
All right. Peace. Yeah, y'all. We having a meetup at Harlem Tavern on 116th Street on Saturday at 2 p.m. Um, Belle, you there? You there, Belle? I know she's there. She got to be because she's the the hand of God right now. Um, I want to address something, and I know I'm not going to be specific. Don't worry. I'm not going to give of props or bite to anybody who doesn't deserve it. But I will say this. What you're probably going to hear is some people attacking Holip personally in these coming weeks or months or whatever. You're going to hear the attacks on me coming in more frequent order. I don't necessarily have a problem with anybody attacking me personally. I don't have an issue or a problem with that. If you want to attack me personally or say that Holip personally is full of shit, Holip never been to the continent, so what are you listening to him talking about Africa for? Because he never. That's a valid critique. Valid critique. If I never been there, why listen to me? Why listen to me? Listen to somebody who's actually from. Like we have people. If you're interested in Ghana, there's people in Ghana that you can listen to who can tell you about Ghana. If you're interested in South Africa, there's people in South Africa that can tell you about South Africa. If you're interested in Kenya, there's people in Kenya that can tell you about Kenya. So I never presented myself as some expert on Africa. All I said, my position was we need a nation of our own. So to attack me, cool. But if you're attacking land, infrastructure, and nationhood, then Houston, we have a problem. And the problem ain't going to come from me. The problem is you got a huge contingent of people who have joined the BAIO who believe in land, infrastructure, nationhood. So if you attack land, infrastructure, nationhood, and us having a nation of our own, just be prepared to face the full brunt and force of the entire BAIO and every member in it. So trust me, and I'll say this for the record, nobody in the BAIO has to defend Holip personally, because I can handle myself. I can take care of bitch ass niggas, homo ass niggas. I can take care of them. Undercover moles. I can take care of an undercover mole because you a bitch and you a punk and you ain't gonna do shit anyway. And I slap the shit out of you if I see you face to face. I know how to deal with niggas like that. So don't worry about me on a personal level. But if anybody wants to attack land, infrastructure, and nationhood, I don't even have to tell you what to do. I ain't even got to tell you what to do. You already know what time it is, and you're already doing it. But I just want you to know, people are trying to attach me to the BAIO and think that if they attack and break me down, that they're going to break down the BAIO and break down nationhood. Not going to happen. And like I said, no, I'm not going to do it. Bell, I caught myself. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just leave it at that. But anyway, y'all, I got to get out of here. It was good talking with you all. Good having this conversation with Minister Dawud. And next week, this Saturday, we're going to meet. We're going to have the New York chapter meeting. And next week, Wednesday, same time, 9 p.m., me and Minister Dawud are going to get into what satellite nations mean. We're going to get into that whole satellite nation discussion, satellite communities and all of that. So on that note, I will holler at you good people later. Odes 80, peace. And peace everybody else if I didn't mention your name, but I got to get out of here. So I will holler at you good people later, all right? Peace.